ഏകാദശി സത്സംഗത്തിലേക്ക് ഇന്നത്തെ ഏകാദശി സത്സംഗത്തിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. നമ്മളിവിടെ കൊച്ചിയിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ഭക്തന്മാര് നേരിട്ട് മഹാരാജിന്റെ അസോസിയേഷനിലെ സത്സംഗത്തിലുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ അതുകൂടാതെ ഓൺലൈനില് പല ഭക്തന്മാരും ഇപ്പോ ഈ സത്സംഗത്തിന് രാജ്യത്തിന്റെയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ ലോകത്തിന്റെ തന്നെ നാനാ ഭാഗങ്ങളിൽ നിന്ന് ഈ സത്സംഗത്തിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുകയാണ്. ഇന്നത്തെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത, ഇന്ന് ശയന ഏകാദശിയാണ്. വളരെ വിശിഷ്ടമായ ഒരു ഏകാദശി ദിവസം. അതുകൂടാതെ മറ്റൊരു വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട കാര്യം, ഇന്നത്തെ സത്സംഗം ഇസ്കോൺ കൊച്ചി സെന്റർ ആയോജനം ചെയ്യുന്ന ശ്രീ ചൈതന്യ ചരിതാമൃതം റീഡിംഗ്, ശ്രീല പ്രഭുപാദന്റെ ചൈതന്യ ചരിതാമൃതം ദിവസവും നമ്മൾ തിങ്കൾ മുതൽ വെള്ളി വരെ പഠനം ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. അതിന്റെ 300ാമത്തെ ദിവസം, 300th ഡേ ഓഫ് ശ്രീ ചൈതന്യ ചരിതാമൃത റീഡിംഗ്, അതിന്റെ സമയത്തിലാണ് മഹാരാജിന്റെ സത്സംഗം നമുക്ക് ലഭിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് ഇപ്പോ മധ്യലീല, ശ്രീ ചൈതന്യ ചരിതാമൃതം മധ്യലീല 8ാം അധ്യായം, മധ്യലീല ചാപ്റ്റർ 8, ലോർഡ് ചൈതന്യ ആൻഡ് രാമാനന്ദ റായ് എന്നുള്ള സംവാദത്തെക്കുറിച്ച്, ശ്രീ രാമാനന്ദ സംവാദം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട അധ്യായത്തിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉള്ളത്. അതിനെക്കുറിച്ചാണ് മഹാരാജ് നമുക്കിന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു തരിക. ആൻഡ് മഹാരാജിനെ കുറിച്ച് 2 വാക്കുകൾ. ഹിസ് ഹോൾനെസ് ഭക്തി വിജ്ഞാൻ ഗോസ്വാമി മഹാരാജ്, ശ്രീല പ്രഭുപാദരുടെ ശിഷ്യനായ ആൻഡ് സന്യാസി വര്യനായി ഹിസ് ഹോൾനെസ് രാധാനാഥ് സ്വാമി മഹാരാജിന്റെ സന്യാസ ശിഷ്യനാണ്. മഹാരാജ് ഇസ്കോൺ റഷ്യയിൽ ആരംഭിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് അവിടെ ഭക്തന്മാരാരുമില്ല, വളരെ കുറവാണ്. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള വളരെ പ്രതികൂലമായ സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ, നമുക്കറിയാം റഷ്യയില് ഭക്തി ചെയ്യുക എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാല് പ്രാണൻ വെടിയാൻ ധൈര്യം കാണിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഭക്തി ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ള നിലവാരത്തിലായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ ആ സമയത്ത് ശ്രീല പ്രഭുപാദരുടെ ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളാലും പ്രസ്ഥാനത്താലും ഭക്തന്മാരും ആലും പ്രേരിതനായി അത്രയും വലിയൊരു ഭൗതികമായ ഒരു PhD ബിരുദം നേടുന്ന ഒരു വ്യക്തിയാണ്. എന്നിരുന്നാൽ പോലും മഹാരാജ് പൂർണ്ണമായും കൃഷ്ണാവബോധത്തിന് വേണ്ടി ജീവിതം സമർപ്പിച്ചു. പലതരത്തിലുള്ള തടസ്സങ്ങളെയും പലതരത്തിലുള്ള ജീവന് തന്നെ ആപത്തുകളെയും നേരിട്ടുകൊണ്ട് മഹാരാജ് ഈ പ്രസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ മുന്നോട്ട് വന്നു. അതുകൂടാതെ ശ്രീല പ്രഭുപാദരുടെ എല്ലാ ഒട്ടുമുക്കാൽ ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളും, ശ്രീല പ്രഭുപാദന്റെ ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ നിന്ന് റഷ്യൻ ഭാഷയിലേക്ക് തർജ്ജമ ചെയ്തതും ഭക്തി വിജ്ഞാൻ ഗോസ്വാമി മഹാരാജാണ്. കഴിഞ്ഞ കുറച്ച് വർഷങ്ങളായി ശ്രീ ചൈതന്യ മഹാപ്രഭുവിന്റെയും ശ്രീല പ്രഭുപാദിന്റെയും കാരുണ്യം എന്ന് തന്നെ പറയണം, മഹാരാജിന്റെ അസോസിയേഷൻ നമുക്ക് എല്ലാ വർഷവും കഴിഞ്ഞ കുറച്ച് വർഷങ്ങളായിട്ട് ലഭിച്ചു വരുന്നു. മഹാരാജിന്റെ ട്രീറ്റ്മെന്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞ ഒരു 2-3 days വെരി മെർസിഫുള്ളി മഹാരാജ് ഇസ് ഗിവിംഗ് us. So we don't deserve it, but still somehow Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we are getting Maharaj's association. So very warmly, with all our heart, with a lot of gratitude in the heart, we would like to welcome His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj to Kochi and to today's session. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടി, ക്ലാസ്സിന് ശേഷം ചോദ്യോത്തര വേള ഉണ്ടാവും. അപ്പോൾ വളരെ ചുരുക്കത്തിൽ ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കാം. പിന്നെ ഓൺലൈനിലുള്ള ഡിവോട്ടീസും ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ദയവായിട്ട് ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചാറ്റിൽ ഇടുക, നമ്മളത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി ചോദിക്കും. താങ്ക് യു. ഹരേ കൃഷ്ണ.
ജയ ജയ ശ്രീ ചൈതന്യ ജയ നിത്യാനന്ദ, ജയ ജയ ശ്രീ ചൈതന്യ ജയ നിത്യാനന്ദ, जय गौर भक्त वृंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय गौर भक्त वृंद, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shiva Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Ramananda Sambhad ki jai. So I'm very happy and honored to be with you on this occasion of 300th anniversary of your Chaitanya Charitamrita readings. You want to translate or not? Okay, better. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity to speak on this topic. It's a very elevated topic, and if it was not for you and for your insistence, I would probably not speak on this. But at the same time, it's a very important topic for all of us to dwell upon, to understand, and to try to really get deeper in the concept of Sri Ramananda Raya, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their conversation. Anyway, so we are in the second part of this Ramananda Samvad. In the first part of this conversation, Lord Chaitanya asked the question. He asked, please tell me what is the sadhya and sadhana. Please explain to me what is the sadhya and sadhana. In this order, which is very important. First, sadhya, the goal of our endeavors, the ultimate result which we are supposed to achieve by doing what we are doing. And then only explain sadhana. Because if you try to explain vice versa, start with sadhana, then it's not clear why this particular sadhana is required. Only if you establish the goal towards which you have to reach, then the sadhana will be clear. There is this famous conversation between Alice in Wonderland with the cat. When she first came to this Wonderland, she met a cat and she saw different ways, different roads going in different directions. So she asked the cat which way I should take. And the cat asked her, it depends where you want to reach. She said, I don't know where I want to reach. She said, then it doesn't matter which way you take. So basically, you have to be very clear where do you want to arrive? What do you want to achieve in your life? Then only the path will also become clear and you will be able to invest your heart into practicing this path. If you are just told that you should do this and this and this and that, and you're not emotionally connected with the goal which you're supposed to achieve by doing this, you will never be doing this with proper intensity. Yes, you will do sadhana just in case it works. Just in case it's something good, you know, who knows, maybe. But if you very clearly understand this is the goal and this is my goal.
This is not the goal of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is not the goal of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. This is not the goal of Prabhupada. This is my goal. This is what I need. And then you understand this is the way to reach the goal. Then you will pursue this way with great intensity. Then you will be able to really follow what you're supposed to do and in this way achieve the goal. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, what is the sadhya and what is the sadhana? And in the first part of conversation, Ramananda Roy explained very beautifully through this series of iterations what is the sadhya. And we will mention about this a little later, or maybe we can, let's do first the context. So Ramananda Roy, as it is a good practice in the spiritual circles, rather than saying something from the top of his head, this is sadhya. He started quoting scriptures, because scriptures, they contain all the essential information which we need to know. And of course, so many people with the fertile brain, especially in Kali Yuga, can invent different goals. Yeah, so many different things. You need this, you need that. And, you know, the mind is so eager and enthusiastic. Yes, I need this. I need to manifest a big car. This is what I need to become healthy. No, Ramananda Roy is not this kind of spiritualist who is inventing something new and being proud that this is, see, how original I am an original thinker. No, he starts quoting from Bhagavad Gita. He starts with Varnashram and with so many other things. And, you know, he quotes even Sarvadharman Parityajam Amekam Sharanam Vracha, which is, according to Sri Vaishnava's tradition, is Charama Sloka, is the highest upaya. Not upeya, but upaya. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects this. He says, Ehobhakya, this is all external. This is all external. And it's not correct to say that he rejects this. He doesn't reject. Who can reject Sarvadharman Parityajam Amekam Sharanam Vraja? You know, this is the last and final instruction of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Of course, it's a very elevated truth which is given there. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects this as the description of sadhya. It's not the goal. Yes, it's upaya. It's the means. It's the means to go, but it's not the goal. And sometimes people are confused. Sometimes people think if this is the last sloka of Bhagavad Gita, then this is the highest instruction which is there, and this is the highest goal which we have to achieve. No, this is an important goal to surrender oneself, but this is a very preliminary goal. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he rejects this. He rejects the Jnana Mishra Bhakti. He rejects so many different things. There is no time to repeat and to say this in details. But then Sri Ramananda Roy says, Dhyana prayasu dapasya namante eva jivanti sanmukritam bhavadiya vartam stitostita shrutegadham tanuvan manovir yeprayasho jito jitapya setai strilokim. He quotes Lord Brahma from the 14th chapter of the 10th canto in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Brahma says that the goal is to hear about Krishna. That sadhya, the goal which we want to achieve, is to hear about Krishna. And this may sound a little paradoxical because we always say that hearing is the means. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the first time during this conversation, he accepts this as the truth of the description of sadhya or goal. And that's very important point to understand. Hearing is not the means. Hearing is the end in itself. Hearing about Krishna Katha with all heart, jnane prayasam, by completely kicking out, completely rejecting all the speculative knowledge, jnane prayasam udapasya, namante eva, and to completely surrender, completely paying namaskar to this Katha, and understanding that this Katha is not different from Krishna himself, is the goal. And we will be lucky if we will be able to achieve this goal in this life. Because usually we come to here to achieve something else, not for hearing itself. And usually people come to hear lecture to have prasadam after that. That's that's the proper sequence. You gain some pious credits by hearing some katha, and then you get prasadam and you forget about katha. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, katha is the end because it creates a spontaneous devotion to the Lord. It creates a spontaneous attachment to the Lord. And that's why it is goal in itself. It's not the means. It is the means too, but this is the means which is non-different from the goal, which is extremely important. And then for the first time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Oh, hi, but please go further. This is okay, but please go further." Before he was saying, "Oh, Bhakya, go further. This is external, go further." But from this point onwards, he says, "Oh, hi, oh, hi, oh, hi." And then this goes to Ramananda Roy mentions Sakya Bhav. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the first time in the conversation, said, "Eho Uttam." This is highest. This is very good. And for quite some time, Ramananda Roy goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes more and more enthusiastic and more pleased. And just 1 second. And then he comes to Madhurya Bhav, which is the all-consuming love, the sentiment which is very deeply ingrained in the heart of the living entity ultimately. Because a living entity, the soul, is feminine by nature. And ultimately we all want love. And the highest manifestation of this love is the love which is similar of love of this world, which is conjugal love of the lover and the beloved. So he starts saying this, and this is a very ancient truth. It's not, again, Ramananda Roy's invention. He, of course, quotes Srimad Bhagavatam. But besides Srimad Bhagavatam, even in the Vedas, it is said that the soul is connected with the Lord as the girl is connected with her lover. Even in the original Vedas is there. In Chandogya Upanishad, it is there. It's in Upanishads. In the very last section of Chandogya Upanishad, it is said that when you achieve the spiritual reality, you become, you develop rati towards God. And rati means erotic feeling. Your relationship with God will become as intense as the erotic attraction between young girl and young boy. And we all know what it means and how strong this feeling may be. And it's a completely pure bhav, and therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very pleased. But he is not satisfied with it. Even with this conjugal love, even with this Madhurya Ras, which is very much engaging all our internal senses into a relationship, he's still not satisfied. He says, go further, go further, go further. And this very notion, or this very mood which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expresses very vividly in this conversation, should be our mood. We should never be satisfied with the level we achieved. Actually, this is again very common statement in the Vedas, and even in Chanakya Niti it is said that you should always be satisfied with your food, meal, with your wife, and with your money. Why you should be satisfied with these three things? Because they don't depend on your endeavors. It's written in your karma. Whatever food is you're having now, you should be satisfied because this is the food which is according to your karma. And whatever wife you have, you should be satisfied no matter what, because it's again written in your chart. If the wife is good, then she will be good. If the wife is not good, she will not be good. And money, again, whatever money we earn does not depend so much on our own endeavors. Some people, they endeavor so much and they get very little. And some people, they don't do anything and they get fortune. They can get some lottery ticket and get fortune. And normal people, they may get 1,000 lottery tickets and they will never get anything. So, but Chanakya Pandit in the same sloka, he says, you should never be satisfied with your japa. You should never be satisfied with your adhyaya, with your studying of the scriptures. And you should never be satisfied with your donations. He says, the three things you should always be satisfied because it's prarabdha. It's within your karma. And three things you should never be satisfied because this is purushartha. This is what you are supposed to do. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifests this very strongly. He says, go further, age, age, age. Should not stop whenever you are until we reach the highest possible limit. And it's painful because it's always, human psychology, we achieve certain level of success or perfection and we think, okay, I'm anyway better than anyone else, so around me. No, but you should not look at somebody who is lower than you. You should always look svajatiya vare. Svajatiya, what is it? Huh? Satovare. Anyway, so you should always be under the guidance of somebody who is higher than you. In this way, you will never become complacent. In this way, you will always feel the urge, yes, I'm not in a proper level. I have to go higher. And that's exactly why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to his South Indian tour. He didn't go to South Indian tour to visit Kerala or Ananta Padmanabha temple, or Tirupati. No, that was external. That was just excuse. His real reason why he went to South Indian tour, because he wanted to meet with Ramananda Roy. Why he wanted to meet with Ramananda Roy? Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said he is very elevated. He is very advanced. And because he is Svajatiya, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to develop certain mood, certain bhav, And you can only develop mood of bhav if you associate with somebody who has the similar mood. There were many advanced devotees. Swarup Damodar Goswami was one of them, but he had a different mood. His mood is Lalita Sakhi Bhava. But Ramananda Roy is the manifestation of Vishaka Sakhi. And Vishaka Sakhi, she was born exactly in the same day in Srimati Radharani. At exactly the same moment. She has exactly the same chart. Not only Rashi, but Navamsha, Dashamsha, whatever it is. She has exactly the same mood as Radhika has. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he heard, there is a great devotee of the Lord, great Rasika devotee of the Lord, who is there in Vijayanagar, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went without any delay to meet with him. And here we see how he is being trained in this mood, how he is getting deeper and deeper and deeper in this mood. And in the course of conversation, Ramananda Roy, while describing the conjugal relationship between Radha and Krishna, he ultimately explains the Krishna Swarup and Radha Swarup. He explains that they are not material beings. They are just completely composed of bhav. He explains the Swarup of Srimati Radharani. He says that the first bhas is this bhav, and the second bhas is this bhav, and the third bhas is this bhav, and the necklace is this bhav. He is composed of love. Whatever we see the descriptions or whatever, whenever we see different paintings of Srimati Radharani, and sometimes they're a little strange, but we should understand that this first Swarup is bhav. The garland is her bhav. And the necklace or neck beads are her bhav. Everything which is there about her is different manifestations of her love. So he explains this, Bhava Swarup, or Mahabhava Swarup, Mahabhava Swarupini, Srimati Radharani, how she is composed of these highest emotions of love. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, go further, go further, go further. And Ramananda Roy becomes bewildered at one point. He says, nobody would ever ask me to go further after this point. How I can go further? You cannot go further because this is the highest, which I know but. Because you're the puppeteer and I am a puppet in your hands. You just do whatever you like with me, and if you want me to speak something higher, I will speak something higher. And ultimately, Ramananda Roy says, now I will say to you something which I never talk to anyone. Which the desire to hear this never appeared in anyone's else mind. And he starts talking about Prema Vilas Vivardhan. We are almost coming to the verse of today. We are very close to this verse. And basically, it's the highest manifestation of love. When Srimati Radharani becomes so bewildered by her Madanakya Mahabhav. Madanakya Mahabhav means Mahabhav, which reaches the stage of insanity. She is completely insane out of love for Krishna, and she becomes so insane that she thinks, I am Krishna. She is always different, but she says, I am Krishna. And Krishna, at this moment of time, because he is in presence of Srimati Radharani, he says, I am Radha. If you are Krishna, then who am I? I must be Radha. So this complete state of bewilderment when they exchange the roles, which is a very high topic, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, stop. He puts his hand over the mouth of Ramananda Roy and says, no, don't go. There is nothing further. It's the highest manifestation of love which is ever described in the scriptures. Is this Madanaki Mahabhav, and there is nothing higher than this. In this Madanaki Mahabhav, Srimati Radharani, she feels that she is expanded in the billions and billions of forms, and in each the form she is serving Krishna. Her love is so strong, her desire to serve is so strong that she is not satisfied with being in one body. She understands that she, at this very moment of time, there are so many different expansions and different prakashas, different divisions of spiritual world by which she is serving Krishna, and she knows about this at the same time. So this is an amazing description which has never been given before. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, stop. And then he says, after that, so we're coming to our relevant part of it. After that, he says, now, because you described to me the highest goal, and because you convinced me that this is the highest goal, and because I could feel that if I achieve this goal, this Mahabhav, this highest love of God, then I become completely happy. Because you convinced me that this is the goal. So now stop talking about the goal and start talking about the way how to achieve it. Because if you explain this goal and convince your audience, yeah, this is the goal, and then you say, okay, you know, I go home, my time is over. That will be cheating. You know, you have to explain how to achieve it. What is the way which is leading to this goal? And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, now you stop talking about the goal, sadhya, you please talk about sadhana. And Ramananda Roy, he says, I don't know anything. He doesn't say, oh, thank you, yes, I'll give you a lecture now. Thank you for asking me. This is a very good question. I will answer your question now. Now he says, no, who can explain this? You know, I just mentioned slightly, yeah, I can speak about this. I didn't even start speaking about the Lord today. So, you know, if we even try to imagine the condition of Srimati Radharani, Krishna himself couldn't achieve it. Krishna himself, during this Prakat Leela, while he was manifesting in the earth, he couldn't achieve this condition of love. That's why he has to come. He had to come again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, you know, who can imagine this? And who can imagine, you know, how to achieve it? So Ramananda Roy, he very humbly says, I cannot speak on these topics. And this should be our mood, actually. Especially when it comes to speak on these elevated topics. It's not that, listen to me, I will explain to you. No, I don't know anything. You know, like once I spoke with Niranjan Maharaj, and we started talking about elevated topics, whether we should speak about them or not. And he said a very interesting thing to me, which I will remember, which I try to remember. He said, you can speak about these topics, but only if internally you remember somebody who is much more elevated than you and who has the adhikar, the eligibility to speak on this topic. And you're not speaking yourself, you're speaking of his or her behalf. Only if this is the mood, I'm not speaking myself. I'm only trying to explain what I heard from somebody who knows. I don't know. I don't have the slightest experience. I don't have a trace of experience of these elevated emotions. Because, you know, to speak about something, you have to experience. You have to have experience. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can speak with experience about the Hinas Mindya Hadehe Kumaram Yavanam Jara from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You know, even this verse is very high. What to speak about all these elevated topics. And we should speak because Prabhupada speaks about this. Prabhupada explains this, but it should be our mood, as Ramananda Roy demonstrates on his own example, that I'm not speaking on behalf of myself. I'm speaking because I'm trying to repeat what I heard from my own benefit. And because you are here, and by your presence, you make me speak. He says that the waves of your love are everywhere, and because of the waves of your love, everyone is moved. Everyone in this world is completely dependent on the desire of the Lord. And if your desire is this, for me to speak this, like, for example, as I said in the beginning, I would never speak on this topic, but because you desire me to speak, I am speaking about this. I am trying to speak something. So Ramananda Roy very humbly says, okay, I will speak, but only because you want me to speak, but only because you inspire me to speak. And whatever you put in my mouth will come out from my mouth. Hopefully it will be all right. And then he starts speaking something very strange. I don't know who was speaking on the previous section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, of this chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but this is the most important point of this section, because he apparently doesn't speak about sadhana. He starts speaking about Sakhis, the girlfriends of Radha. He already explained Radha Swarup. He already explained Krishna Swarup. He already explained their relationship, the details of their relationship. And then when it comes to sadhana, all of a sudden he starts speaking about Sakhis, about Gopi friends of Srimati Radharani. How is the sadhana? And the answer we should know very clearly. It is sadhana because we can only achieve the goal which Ramananda Roy described and which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted and said, yes, this is the highest goal. This is the highest goal. We can only achieve this goal being under the guidance of the girlfriends of Srimati Radharani. That's why he starts speaking about this and their role in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. He starts speaking about this because he wants to say that if you want to achieve this goal, yes, you can. but not on your own. And not by Krishna's mercy. Sometimes it is said that everything depends on Krishna's mercy, but Krishna himself comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and starts learning from Vishakha Sakhi. If he could achieve this by his own mercy, it would be natural for him to manifest his mercy upon himself. And in this way achieve this goal. But he says, no, I can't achieve this goal. And this is, of course, very bewildering. How is that he is the supreme? Yes, he can achieve this goal, but he needs friends of Srimati Radharani to achieve this goal. And why he needs, this is what we're supposed to understand from these sections of Chaitanya Charitamrita. What the role girlfriends of Srimati Radharani play in their roles, and how the pastimes, the leelas of Radha and Krishna completely dependent on the participation of the Sakhis. Because again, sometimes we are deep down in our heart in personalities. We're all little Mayavadis, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Well, probably not you, but I'm talking about myself. And of course, we are in Kerala state, and Kerala state is famous for being the headquarters of Mayavad and communism, Siddhanta. These two Siddhantas are very prominent here, not two, some others too. But basically what I want to say is that sometimes we think that there is Radha and there is Krishna, and that's it. And they are somewhere in a vacuum, in eternal space, and they love each other eternally. No, this is a completely wrong picture. There is Radha, there is Krishna, and there is so many friends of them. And without them, Leela cannot happen. Even if there is Radha, even if there is Krishna, this too is not enough. There has to be many, many different manifestations of Srimati Radharani's internal mood, because every friend of Srimati Radharani is her bhava-vritti, or some sort of mood, some internal mood. And by the participation of her friends, only Leela can happen. Otherwise, everything will be very boring. Even, husband and wife, initially they have a very nice relationship, but then they become bored with each other. The same thing, and then, they start looking for something else. And the same principle is there. And that's exactly what Ramananda Roy wants to say, answering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's question. Please explain me what is the sadhana. Because when we hear about sadhana, we usually, what is sadhana? Sadhana means you have to get up at 3:30, right? Sadhana means you have to brush your teeth. Sadhana means you have to go and take shower after going to the toilet. Sadhana means, and Ramananda Roy doesn't explain anything like this. He doesn't say you have to brush your teeth to achieve this goal, because this is not enough. To achieve this goal, you have to be under the guidance of somebody who is already there, who has achieved this goal. And there is only one category of living entities who achieve this goal. This is the friends of Srimati Radharani. Because there are so many different varieties of conjugal relationship of Madhurya Rasa. In Dwaraka, there is Madhurya Rasa, right? In Mathura, there is Madhurya Rasa. Kubji is there. Some people are there who develop Madhurya Rasa. in other sampradayas, there are so many people who develop some Madhurya relationship. Even in Christianity, there are people who achieve this Madhurya bhav towards the Lord. And they pray the Lord, they want to become the bride of the Lord. But to achieve the highest goal, this is okay, this is a good goal, but this is not the highest. Because all this Madhurya, it's not pure Madhurya. We do not want to be exclusivist, we do not want to praise ourselves, but with all clarity, we have to understand that the things which are described in our scriptures, especially in Chaitanya Charitamrita, are not described anywhere. We have to be very, very crystal clear. There is Sri Sampradaya, there is Madhava Sampradaya, there is Nimbarka Sampradaya, and there is Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. They're all Vrida Vaishnavas, they're all amazing Vaishnavas, they're preaching amazing things, but nobody goes that high. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains this, Anarpita Charicharam Karuna Avatirna Kalu, Samarpaitam Unatojval Rasam Svabhakti Shriyam. He has come to give Samarpaitam, to give Unatojvala Rasa Svabhakti Shriyam, the Unatojvala Rasam, which is Parakiya Ras, Svabhakti Shriyam, the beauty of this ras. He has come not to give Parakiya Ras. Parakiya Ras were not eligible to. He has come to give us the appreciation of the beauty and the experience of the beauty of Parakiya Ras, of this conjugal relationship between Radha and Krishna, which is possible for her friends and only to her friends, and only her friends can give us this experience. And that's exactly what Ramananda Roy is teaching here, and I'm already speaking too long. But anyway, let's read this, and then I will speak a few words about this. Give the whole lecture on this topic. So today's verse is 206. Vibhurati Sukharupa Svaprakashati Bhava Chanamati Nahirada Krishnayor Yarite Sva Pravahati Rasapushtim Chit Vibhutir Nidesha Shrayati Napadamasam Kam Kah Sakhinam Prasagyaham. So it's actually a very beautiful verse from Govinda Lilamrita, where exactly this point is being made. Let's read the translation of Srila Prabhupada. The pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna are self-effulgent. Vibhu means all-pervading. Vibhu means very powerful. Vibhurati Sukharupa Svaprakasho Api Bhavaha. 2 times Api is here in this line. Even though the Leelas of Radha and Krishna, Svaprakasha, they're self-manifest. It basically means they don't need anyone else. That it's a very natural, spontaneous relationship, Svaprakasha. And even though Vibhurati Sukharupa, even though they are just manifestation of Sukharupa, the happiness, and they're Vibhu, they're very powerful. Even though the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna are self-effulgent, the happiness personified, unlimited and all-powerful. This is Prabhupada's translation of the first line of this verse. Even so, or even though the spiritual humors of such pastimes are never complete without devotees, the Lord's personal friends. Tanamati Nahirada Krishnayor Ya Rite Svaha Pravahati Rasa Pushtim Chit Vibhutir Ivesha, Iva Isha. So in the second line, it is said, Kshanamati nahi, Radha Krishna yor yari tesvaha. Even for split second, Kshanamati, even for very small fraction of time, they are never alone. Kshanamati nahi Radha Krishna yor yari tesvaha. They are not without svaha, their own close, intimate friends. Pravahati rasa pushtim chit vibhuti rivesha. And there is a very important metaphor or comparison in this verse, in the third line. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Iva Isha, like Isha. Isha means the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord Narayan. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, is never complete without his spiritual potencies. So, Pravahati rasa pushtim, chit vibhuti rivesha. The metaphor is like this, very important for us to understand. Like Narayan in Vaikuntha, he is always surrounded by different friends and his vibhutis. And who are these vibhutis who always surround him? They're his mystic powers. You know, he has this anima mystic power, lagima mystic power. He has so many different mystic power. Ila, Kanti. There are different wives of the Supreme Lord Narayan. He has three main wives, three main energies: Shri, Bhu, and Nila. We know this, and usually in South Indian temples, he's always with three wives, three manifestations of Lakshmi. But besides that, there are 16 energies and many more different energies. And he is never without this. Chit vibhuti riveshaha. Ishaha is never without his Shaktis. Otherwise, he would not be the person. He is person because he possesses different Shaktis, and by these different Shaktis, he manifests different things. He does different miraculous things. You know, he creates universes, he penetrates everything, he maintains all these nonsense leaders in Kali Yuga, and they're somehow or other doing what he wants. You know, can you imagine how powerful you must be to use Mr. Trump in your own purpose, for your own purpose, completely independent somebody, but still he's the puppet. So it's just a stupid example. I'm sorry for spoiling this, but I want to make the point is that the Supreme Lord is always with his vibhutis. He is never without his vibhutis. And because without his vibhutis, he would not be able to perform all these miraculous things. And he would not be the Lord. You know, he is simultaneously in the heart of every living entity. He calculates the karma of every living entity. He is pushing everyone in his direction. He is punishing those who don't want to see him. He's doing so many things at once. He creates the universes without even thinking twice about this. Why? By his energies. Svabhaviki bala gyana kriya. By his energies, in a natural way, it is being performed, and he cannot do whatever he is doing without this. In the similar way, Krishna is never without Sakis of Srimati Radharani, for none others than the mystic powers of his own energy of love. And the leelas, the pastimes of the Lord with Srimati Radharani are unimaginable without the participation of the Sakis. And the point which Ramananda Roy wants to make by quoting this verse, let's read to the end. Shrayatina padamasam ha sakinam rasagya So, как с Акином Расагья, who can be interested in their spiritual pastimes without taking shelter? Who can become Rasagya? Again, this is the point which Ramananda Roy is making. This is the sadhana. Sadhana, what it means sadhana? Sadhana means that we have to gradually learn how to taste this rasa of love between Radha and Krishna. How we can, if we want to become rasagya, if we want to become the expert in understanding rasa or the mellows of conjugal love between Radha and Krishna, how we can imagine it without sakis? Even Krishna himself cannot make his leelas, his pastimes, without girlfriends of Srimati Radharani. What about us? Even he himself requires them. So how can we understand anything about this without their help? So that's the point which Ramananda Roy is trying to make, and Krishnadas Kaviraj is quoting his own verse, but basically he is just quoting verse of his own composition because this verse was revealed to him by the mercy of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, his spiritual masters. And this verse is the eternal reality. That to understand the love between Radha and Krishna, we have to accept the guidance of the Sakis of Vrindavan. And this eternal associates of the Lord, they come to this world as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srila Prabhupada is one of them. Why did he achieve what he achieved? Why he was able to achieve? Why he was able to inspire so many people, even in Kerala, to become devotees of Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya is a Bengali god, right? He is not Kerala god. He is not even Madhya Pradesh god. He is a Maharashtra god. Maharashtra god is Shiva or whatever. No, he's God. And the eternal associates of the Lord, they come to this world to teach us how to serve the Lord. And therefore, one of the first things which Srila Prabhupada taught his disciples was this Gurvashtakam prayer. And in Gurvashtaka prayers, there is this verse, Nikunjayuna Ratikeli Sikya, Yayali Bir Yudkiratekshani. So he said that my spiritual master, he is very expert in facilitating the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And he's teaching me if I accept his guidance. And externally, it may look very different. We are not arranging different nikunjas. We are not, we are not supposed to imitate this. Srila Prabhupada explained this in the previous verse in Purport, where he very clearly says that we should not become sakibekis and we should not become these gross imitations. But the principle of anugatya is there. Anugatya means the following. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says very beautifully, he says that if you want to explain the essence of bhakti, what is the essence of bhakti? How the bhakti, what is it? There is only one word which explains this, anugatya. The essence of bhakti is to follow the footsteps. And by following the footsteps, we receive the mercy. And by receiving the mercy, we receive everything. We don't need anything. We are all mercy cases. We just do whatever our spiritual master tells us, but in this mood. We have to, and Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he stressed this point. Every morning we have to remind ourselves, Sakshat Daritvena Samastra Shastra. And this is what my spiritual master is doing. In the beginning, he is just like a cloud of mercy, and he is pulling down his mercy, and the fire of my karma is being extinguished. But ultimately, we have to understand that he is engaging us in the intimate service, but by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, ultimately we have to achieve this stage. If we're chanting Hare Krishna mantra in the wake, in the mood of our spiritual masters, if we're trying to emulate the same mood and the same dedication as our spiritual master is, not just mechanically repeating Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But if we remember how Srila Prabhupada chants this mantra, nowadays there are so many different tunes of Hare Krishna in ISKCON. I mean, now AI has come on the scene, and the new tunes are appearing every second, basically. AI is inventing different moods, different kirtans. Srila Prabhupada only chanted Hare Krishna with 2 or 3 tunes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. But if we try to understand the mood behind this chanting, if we try to understand how Srila Prabhupada is serving the purpose of the Supreme Lord, how he is serving the conjugal pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, now serving, and how he's engaging us, very fallen souls of Kali Yuga, in this service, and then ultimately everything will be revealed to us. Gradually, step by step, all this confidential truths will be revealed to us. But in advance, we have to go into these sections of Chaitanya Charitamrita and try to understand what it means to be under the guidance. And so many other things would be said, but I don't want to speak too long. I already speaking for 1 hour, and I tried to explain very basic things about this Ramananda Samvad and about this particular section of Ramananda Samvad which we are reading. And it is indeed a very important section which is teaching us what it means to practice Raganuga sadhana. Sadhana in the wake of the bhav of eternal associates. This is their desire. In the next verse it will be said that the Sakis, they are arranging pastimes of Radha and Krishna, but they never want a relationship with Krishna directly. They are serving the eternal love of Radha and Krishna, and by doing this service, by doing this highly elevated service, they experience the same pleasure, the same bliss as Srimati Radharani herself. They're getting the same experience by serving their relationship. Anyway, it's a very elevated topic. I do not want to even try to make an impression that I understand anything about it, but some basic principles I try to explain about this section, and I thank you very much for engaging me, and I didn't read other verses, but I guess somebody else can read them next. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's come to the question. Yes.
Out of the context of this class.
No. No. No, I don't think. This class was difficult enough, and if we start talking about some other subject matters, it will be completely. I don't think it's. Yes.
Sorry, I don't know if this one to hear this topic, but unfortunately, audaciously, the request is to very kindly explain this. My question is more related to the present state of present sample. What happens many times is we come to we are introduced to the movement and we are introduced to the sadhana and is there a particular time at which, as you said, the sadhana should also come sadhya sadhana should be the sadhana so that the sadhana.
Yeah, that's why Srila Prabhupada wrote all his books, and his books are explaining sadhya, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita explains sadhana and sadhya. And we have to know about sadhya, definitely, because otherwise, everyone has his goal. People who are playing football, they have their goal to push the ball into this into this gate. And if we don't know the goal, we will think that the goal of our sadhana is to become happy in this world, to avoid the bad circumstances, and then something bad will happen to us, which is inevitable, and we will become completely disappointed. We said, what is this? He told me chant and be happy, and how I can be happy if something bad is happening with me. But Srila Prabhupada didn't tell us chant and you will be happy. He said chant and be happy. It basically means two things which has to be done simultaneously. Chanting and being happy should be done at the same time. We should be happy because ultimately we are spirit souls and we have eternal service, eternal kainkarya to the Lord. And we have to know about this goal, yes. And yes, it is a little unsettling, because it's very comfortable to have goal of dharma, artha, kama, and even moksha. But prema is very frightening. But this is the goal, and that's why it is explained here.
One last question on the topic.
Online question. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, there is one question from one devotee who is online, Prabhavi Mataji. Question: it is very difficult to understand how Sakhis of Radha and Krishna can come to this material world and be in so much troublesome situations like Rupa and Sanatan serving the Muslim king. I would think preachers who undergo so much difficulty are a separate class of people, not gopis. I find it so difficult to understand this.
You're not alone. And if this kind of topics would be easy to understand, Krishna makes them difficult to understand. It's very bewildering and difficult to understand, but ultimately Krishna arranges this to glorify his devotees. We should not try to speculate or invent different categories for preachers who come to this world. It is an established fact in our sampradaya that Rupa Goswami is an eternal associate of the Lord, he is Rupa Manjari. So, yes, he did have difficulties, but all these difficulties are there. It is actually explained by Rupa Goswami himself in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that difficulties which people who are playing the role of sadhakas, and somebody comes to this world, even though he may be Siddha, very rarely he manifests his Siddha nature. Because what is the point? If somebody is Siddha and he comes as a Siddha, he will not be able to teach anyone. How he will teach? He can only teach by his own example, and for that he has to play the role of a sadhaka. And by playing the role of a sadhaka, he is undergoing difficulties. To teach us sadhakas, real sadhakas, not those who are playing the role, how to overcome all these difficulties. Yeah, difficulties will come. There's no doubt about it. Our karma, our prarabdha is there, everything is there. And, what to speak about Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, even the Lord himself, when he comes, he undergoes so much difficulties. Just to show that this is the nature of this world. Don't expect that it will be easy for you, because the Lord himself, Lord Krishna, is born in a prison. What kind of karma it is to be born in a prison and to be separated with his mother on the same day when he is born, and to be brought in some, to be born as a king and to be brought into some, cowherd village in a remote corner and whatever. Lord, look at Lord Ramachandra. When Lord Ramachandra comes, he's about to be coronated, and everything is destroyed just within one night. One night separates you from being the emperor of the world, and then you become, and not only this, somebody else is supposed to be coronated, and you're supposed to go to the forest. You cannot even stay with your mother who loves you. You cannot stay. And then he goes, actually, I'm repeating one beautiful Sri Vaishnavacharya who is explaining how difficult the life of Ramachandra was. And it is actually in Ramayana itself. He goes into the forest, and at least there the Sita is there, right? And Lakshman is there. But then he's separated with Sita. And he's the Supreme Lord, and he's separated with Sita. And then Jatayu, who is like his father, he is dying in his hands. And then, but at least Lakshman is there. But then he's separated with Lakshman too at the end. So the Supreme Lord comes, and he undergoes so much difficulties, just to show to us that this is the nature of this world. This world is a difficult place, and it's difficult for me even to speak about this, but the eternal associates, they come and they undergo these difficulties just to show us, please tolerate a little bit, and Krishna is taking care of you. Ultimately, he is there. Okay, yes. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Shri Ramananda Samvada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Just take half a minute to all of us so that we can express our, I don't know if we can express it in words, but the deep, deep causeless mercy that Lord Chaitanya Srila Prabhupada is giving us by giving us this association of personalities like Maharaj. So we just like to offer our heart in gratitude by chanting Hare Krishna mantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Maharaj is in
Hare
very
Hare.
strict
Hare
treatment
Bol.
protocols. So, but still, Maharaj extended himself just for us. So, very grateful. And also grateful to Nalina Mataji and Dinanath Prabhu for opening their house. I think such wonderful association we're getting here. They named the house Sankirtan, and I think it has more than fulfilled that meaning. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. Also like to thank Govinda Prabhu. Govinda, like to thank Govinda Prabhu for kindly coming and being there with us. Hare Krishna.